2026 is so cooked that married women divorce their husbands for cheating just to turn around and become the side chick to a married man. Make that make sense.
A lot of women today act like escorts. If a man has to pay you for your time in order to go out with you, you're an escort, okay? Because us regular girls are not charging men money to take us out on a date.
Like everyone's like,
oh, I can't get a girlfriend.
You sure can. Ask out every girl you see in the world. One will say yes. Life is so simple, and yet everyone decided to make it so complicated. I would say humans' great skill is complicating simplicity. Life's simple. You just made it hard.
And a lot of modern women complain about men not being men anymore, men not being chivalrous anymore. But I guess they're forgetting about you villainizing a man for the last 2 or 3 decades. I guess you forgot about that. You know, TV, commercials, articles, they have a whole bunch of think pieces out there about how men are trash. Men are the reason everything is bad. And when men start saying, okay, so if I'm the problem, you fix it, you do it. Now you have women asking men to come back and help. Mind you, the whole entire time, they're trashing the man, dogging the man out, while the man is actively helping them. It really is crazy work.
So the crown jewel of female manipulation is without question victimization, playing the victim card. A friend of mine recently told me a story about how he got a call from his wife on his way home from work, and she asked him to pick up some milk. And he was distracted, and for whatever reason, he forgot to get the milk on the way home. He gets home, and she's pouring herself a cup of tea or coffee or something, and she asks for the milk, and he goes, babe, I just totally forgot it. I'm so sorry. I'll run out and get it right now. And she says, oh no, don't you bother yourself. I'll just have my coffee black again. It's not like I need the milk. And he's like, oh no, really, I don't mind. No, it's okay. I'm used to being disappointed. It's happened my whole life. I remember my mom was always very disappointed in my father. He was never able to meet her needs either. And suddenly, you go from being a guy who forgot to pick up milk on the way home from work to being this evil villain from a Lifetime movie that is responsible for all the terrible things that have ever happened to her in her life. That you are the ultimate villain, and she is the ultimate victim.
I don't think we dig into what actually has happened to men in their history, to be honest. And a lot of times when we do, we use it against them. We don't use it to help them out. Right. You have a lot of these brothers out here, like say, for instance, one guy, watched his parents go through a divorce, specifically his dad, lost all his money, lost all his house, the whole house, kids, the whole 9 yards. And he said, man, I don't want to go through that. I don't want to be a part of that. Right. And people say, oh, well, that's not going to happen. And then when it happens, what am I expected to believe? What do you want me to believe? And then you have modern women out here saying, this is what I'm going to do to you. If we ever get together, not even married, if we ever get together, this is what I'm going to do to you. And you think a man is going to sign up to be in a situation like that?
It's a beautiful day. I'm out at the park, minding my business, reading, eating my trail mix. And one thing I have come to realize today is that when a man says he likes you, it is not a compliment. Being liked by men is not a compliment. And for some odd reason, the more a man tends to like a woman, the less she likes herself. And the more she likes herself, the less men tend to like her. And I believe that is because when you love yourself as a woman, you do not people please, you do not conform, you show up as your authentic self, you get what you get, it is what it is. And you can take it or leave it. I think that when you are performing for the male gaze, when you are twisting yourself into a pretzel, when you are trying to encompass their desires and their fantasies so that they can like you or validate you, you lose yourself in the process. And being liked by a man is just not a compliment. It's such a fleeting emotion. The thing that we as women should strive for is to learn to embrace, love, and like ourselves. Super simple.
What's going on, fellas? Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Leave a comment down below. Let's get back to the video. You know, a lot of these modern women continue to ask the same question. I read a comment recently that said she met her husband at a funeral or something like that. like a funeral. And I'm laughing, not but because it's funny, but she said something, I think, kind of at the end of her comment, where she said, you just never know. You just never know where you're going to meet people, right? We were at a funeral, at his mother's funeral, and I met him there. You just never know. You never know. But a lot of times modern women, and I understand it, you know, it's a funeral, you know, grieving, yada, yada, yada. I get it. But like a lot of men say, you know, you never know. There's a way to approach. There's a way to engage, sure. But you just never know. You never really know.
Stay-at-home dad chronicles. There's a movement going on right now where stay-at-home moms want their sole providing husbands to give them 50% of their income. They say it's for quote-unquote services rendered. So let me get this straight. You're telling me that my wife gets to wake up and work her off all day while I get to live in a house for free, eat for free, use all of today's modern conveniences for free, have unlimited bonding time with my children and shape them out to the way I want them to be, and I can still tell her to run me them pockets? Sounds pretty stupid when I say it, doesn't it? They try to spin you this propaganda that she's working the equivalent of 3 full-time jobs or whatever. Shut your mouth and miss me with every bit of that. She is not doing every single one of those things for 8 hours apiece. And if she is, she probably needs to pick up the pace a little bit. If you need money for something, you can always ask your husband for it. Trying to beat him over the head for half is just wild. Or you could always be ambitious and make your own money. My mother baked and sold cakes when she was a stay-at-home mom. I started this channel with the goal of being able to help out my wife with the bills. And I'm blessed to say it's recently become a reality. Now my goal is to retire her so she'll never have to work another day in her life. But I'm a misogynist and I hate women though, right? And if you have a husband that won't buy you something you need or want when it fits the budget, then you probably shouldn't have married him. Where was all that women's intuition when all the red flags were flying off? Love you all. Hope to see you for the next one.
I think another thing that frustrates men about this whole conversation about provider men and generous men and chivalrous men is, you know, you have a lot of modern women that are strong and independent. They have careers and make their own money. And back in the day, you would contribute to the household. Well, I couldn't get a bank account, so here's what I can do, or whatever it was you could not do. Okay, I'll do this. I'll do that. You'll be in the kitchen or raise the kids or iron the clothes, whatever it might be. That's your portion of it. And so now that you have a career, like you tell men, you have to contribute in different ways. And women don't want to do that. They still want the perks of, well, a man's going to pay all of the bills because that's the man thing to do. Well, are you going to do the womanly thing, what women do? No, of course not, because we're in a new day and age. And I have a career now and I'm important. I work outside the home. Right. But, you know, outside of you being strong and independent, if you say you want to be in a relationship, how are we going to help each other build? That's what we need to be talking about.
A lot of women tend to sabotage things with the best men and the most attractive men simply because they get insecure, you know, and there are a lot of people out there telling women to play games. Hey, don't show them interest. Hey, play hard to get. And a lot of these women are convinced that if they force a man to chase them, then it'll work and that man will fall in love, not realizing that some men chase you to get in your pants. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, like, women, they just need to be honest, okay? You just need to be honest. If you're not honest, it's going to backfire. And a lot of the times when women are not honest, it's going to come back to them. And a lot of women do come back because their dishonesty towards a good man like you is going to end up coming back to them, and then they're going to come back. You know what I mean? It's regret. It's regret. Women, they do regret hurting a good man because he was a good man. And biologically, women are more likely to be more compassionate, more sympathetic, more empathetic, more caring. So even if she didn't care at that point, it is very likely that she's going to care now. A lot of women just need to process things. So yeah, just let her process things, you know. She can come back. It's very possible. And when she does come back, you can either forgive her and be all like, hey, you know, a lot of us, you know, we do have our own immature moments. We all make our mistakes. Or you could be all like, hey, you have a lot going on. I don't want to be a part of it, and I don't believe that you changed. So, peace. It's honestly up to you. 101 coaching is in my bio.
And you know, you hear a lot of modern women talk about leaving a good man. A man isn't enough for me, or his salary or whatever it is isn't enough for me. It's a whole bunch of foolishness. You have different people, different men out here that are trying to provide in different ways. I remember somebody talking about they were a disabled veteran and, you know, had a disability check. I think it was what it was, I think. And, you know, that wasn't enough for her. You know, you have to use your whole disability check to cover my expenses, and your whole disability check better be enough. Why is he even giving that to you? But anything that a man does isn't enough at all. I mean, you know, your love is good. Yeah, you treat me right, but you know, you're just not providing enough, right? Once again, men in a lot of these situations are expendable to women, and men get tired of that. And so you have guys like that will take their check and put it on themselves and say, hey, you know what? Me and you are not going to work out. And just walk away from the relationship. Some of these guys just get up and leave and never come back. And women are upset about that. Oh, he left all this stuff over here. Surely he's going to come get it back. He's not. He just moved on. Because you treat men like trash, and you don't really, I guess you really don't understand that you're treating a man like trash.
I think it's so funny that women have told men time and time and time again what makes us attracted to them and what we look for in a partner. And they're still utterly convinced that, like, if you're not 6'5" with $5 million in the bank, that we aren't going to want to sleep with you or date you. My ex-boyfriend, who I dated for like 4.5 years, he had everything going for him. And I just still wasn't sure that I felt that spark until I found a notebook that he had left at my house. It turns out it was a sketchbook filled with these really incredible, technically impressive, vulnerable paintings and sketches. And I was like, oh, okay. There was another guy, he, you know, was tall, he was good looking, he was smart and funny, but I didn't really feel that way about him until we had a chat one day, and he let slip that he like volunteered at soup kitchens on the weekend. And, you know, I multiple times saw him pull his car over to buy food and water for someone who was unhoused. And I was like, I don't know a single woman who has said to me, I just really want a tall, rich guy, and that's it. Like, I don't care what kind of a person he is. I don't care if he's good to me. I don't care if he's trying to make the world a better place. I just want them tall and rich. That has never happened in the history of ever. I do know a ton of women who find bodybuilders and looks maxers repulsive. Like that guy Clavicle. That's disgusting. Nobody wants to be around a man who is so insecure that he spends all of his time tracking macros and lifting heavy things and then putting them back down to the detriment of his mental health and his character development as a person. Like, no one wants that. It's really hard to be around men who hate themselves. When women hate ourselves, when we have insecurities, we turn it inward. We punish ourselves, like, which is not a good thing, to be clear. But when men are insecure, their wives and children, or they hit themselves in the face with hammers because they think it's going to change their bone structure.
Well, a lot of these modern women, they think that they're going to be able to do the same thing over and over again for the rest of their life. They think for some reason, oh, it's like this now, it's always going to be this way. And I'm at some point in time going to be able to put, you know, my brain or my effort on the back burner And he's going to give all the effort. He's going to put forth everything that I need. And I'm not going to have to try. I'm going to find me a rich man to do everything for me. I'm going to find me a rich man that's going to be my butler. What? Are you okay? Who's going to do that? Nobody. But that's what they're thinking. They're thinking, oh, this is just the way it's going to be. I'm so unique. I'm so good looking. That's the bare minimum. That's the standard of what I'm going to be able to pull. I mean, who ain't going to like me? Who ain't going to like the way that I look? Somebody somewhere out of what? How many people in America? 330 million, something like that. Somebody's going to do exactly what I asked. That's too bad, because millions of women out there are thinking the same exact thing, and it's not coming to fruition. And you're single for years, dreaming up new coping mechanisms and getting out and throwing them online, talking about, I'm fine, I'm okay. Oh, everything's okay. Please don't check on me. I'm fine. I'm strong and independent. But you did that to yourself, acting like a loser.
Honestly, I think there is a huge untapped opening right now for straight men who want to experience loving relationships with women. Like, there's never actually been a greater opportunity for you to have the kind of relationship full of love and connection and joy that you want to have, that most of us want to have as humans. It just requires you to take a couple extra steps. Like, yes, there is a lot of discourse online right now about how women don't need men. Women are decentering men because we don't need them financially or logistically to create the lives that we want to create for ourselves. And yet, a lot of women still desire healthy, loving, reciprocal partnership. A lot of women still do desire to build a family and create a life with somebody, but they're only willing to do that with a partner who's actually a match for them, who's actually an equal, and not a partner who is lagging so far behind in the growth gap that it feels like, now I'm just your mom. And all women are asking men to do is the same work that we've been doing: to go to therapy, to build some self-awareness, to build some emotional intelligence and relational skills, improve your communication. Like, these are not things that are selfish of us to ask. It's actually for your benefit to learn these very basic relational human skills. And when you do, your pick of women that you could be in relationship will expand exponentially, because you'll be competing with men who are refusing to do that work. Right now, you're just competing with her solitude. Like, she's built a life for herself that is pretty awesome, dude, and she meets all her needs, and she has community, she has amazing friendships, she travels, she experiences joy and play on the regular. And if you want to be a part of that, there's just some things you have to do to step up your emotional intelligence game. It's very, very possible. It's very, very doable. I feel like we're often hearing from the very polarized camps of, like, the men who are already there, who have already done that work, or the men who are, like, on the incel side of things and very anti-woman. I want to speak to the people in the middle, the women who are not, like, anti-man. They just want a man who steps up and does his own inner work and takes accountability. And I want to talk to the men who are maybe at the beginning stages of that journey and pursuing this kind of work. Like, what questions do you have? What do you want to know? Drop it in the comments. Let's have a conversation.
You know, in a lot of ways, a lot of people, really honestly and truly, were told, you know, if you work hard, if you do this, then, you know, at some point in time, you're going to have what I have. And that really hasn't been the case for a lot of people in general. But, you know, in a lot of situations, specifically men, hey, buy her flowers, take her out to dinner, ride in this car, do that. And let's move money away from it. We can take 6 figures, 6-pack, 6-ad, whatever that is, and we can move that to the side. Just connecting with somebody on a basic human level. Men were told, we don't want all of that stuff. Just be a decent human being that has emotional intelligence, that knows how to communicate effectively, that is emotionally available, that is vulnerable. Just be a kind person. Just be a decent human being. And there's a lot of men that are decent human beings. But what society isn't telling you, what modern women don't like to say is, I meant be perfect. Even though I'm not perfect, I meant do things as I would do them, how I would do them, the way that I would do them. And men are like, well, you don't really like me as a person. You like me as a copy of yourself. I can't be that. Like Genuine say, I can only be me, me, me. Same OG. Even though I got my own on CD, maybe even on TV. All you ever gonna see is the same OG. It's the same OG. And this is kind of the thing that kills me. Men don't really ask for much. They don't really ask for much. A roof, maybe some free time to play games, like let me play my games, maybe a dog. That's really it. That's really the whole dream. Like, I mean, you have a lot of men that have elevated, and the old cliche was, men will be in the house with a mattress, a table, a TV, and a game. That might be true for some, but a lot of men start there and they elevate. They look and see what other people have online and they say, I want that in my house, and they go buy it. And they design their own home, right? And so now when you walk into a man's home, it might not look like yours with all of the plants and all that stuff, but it's something. It's a lot better than you're saying a lot of what men are doing, right? And so you have men that don't need much. They have a lot now. They do a lot, but really they don't need a whole lot. Right? They just kind of chilling. And now men are scaling back a little bit more. And what I mean by that is I'm not about to continue to work myself to death. I'm not about to try to get out here and make somebody like me that don't like me. Instead of doing all of that, instead of chasing a whole bunch of nonsense, what I'm going to do is start to build myself up. I'm going to start to focus on my body, my health, hanging out with friends, going to different places that I've never been, creating new experiences. And that's how you go from a man, like I talked about, that just had a roof over his head, just chilling at the house, to a man that might go get a plant. He's got nice art on his walls, right? House is set up, it's got nice furniture, nice big screen TV. That's how you go from that. When a man starts focusing on himself because nobody else wanted to give him the time of day, that man's going to be a problem.